What's going on, everyone? So, per reports, the Chicago Bulls may be having a fire sale. They for sure want to trade Zach Lavine as well as Nikola Vucevic. However, they are supposed to have meetings with both Zach Lavine as well as Vu to kind of figure out, kind of the process and step, probably to kind of gauge, where would you guys be willing to go? What would you guys, kind of work with the players, right? Do you want to go to a contender, right? We'll try to get what we can, or, are you okay with like a mid-tier team, right? You kind of try to work out and kind of gauge, like, where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do? Do you have any teams in particular? If we could get you to the Lakers or we could get you to the Clippers, right? Like, would you prefer one or the other, right? Like, those kind of processes. And then also, they're supposed to sit down with several other players, and apparently the entire roster is essentially open, right, for the right price, right? They're not just going to give guys away, but if they can get the right deals, we've heard talks prior about Io, that they may be willing to include him in like a Zach Lavine deal. The reports say that Dalen Terry, that he would have to be included, their new second round draft pick, right? Like, you'd have to include pieces for a team to be willing to take on Zach Lavine. Obviously, Chicago, they don't want to give up any picks, but maybe they would include, one of their draft picks from last year, or an Io, because they have, several guards at the guard position, right? So the idea is that to get off of Zach Lavine, Chicago's probably going to have to give something, right? Like, teams aren't just going to line up to get Zach Lavine. They've been trying for a year and a half now. As far as Vucevic goes, supposedly he only acquires 2 seconds, right? That Chicago would be looking to just get a couple seconds, get off of his long-term money, but no, just 2 seconds, which I think is incredibly reasonable for him. It's what I've talked about, right? Because I've talked about the Lakers trading Zach Lavine. Obviously, I'm a big Zach Lavine guy, but I've also talked about them trading for Vucevic. And I talked about, if you could get him for 2 seconds, or, maybe 3 seconds at the most, then I think there's value there. But you're not giving up a first or anything like that for him. But if he's only 2 seconds, I talked about, and I've even broken down and made the argument for getting Zach Lavine as well as Nikola Vucevic, just take both, and maybe you could even work something out to get one of their young guys or something to kind of just get some value, because hey, we're taking on all this long-term salary, we're taking on Zach Lavine, we're taking on Vu, right? We'll give you 2 seconds or 3 seconds, if you can get Dalen Terry or something like that, a young, 3-and-D wing, right? That could add some value. But Chicago, they're a team theoretically that have several key needs that the Lakers need. Obviously, other teams could potentially need, especially if they're open to all the roster, right? Like Patrick Williams, several teams could probably be interested and could use him. His issue is just staying healthy and on the basketball court. But again, Kobe White, right? If they're willing to trade him, what do they do with Josh Giddey? I know that they just traded for Josh Giddey, but do they look to maybe move him because they've benched him a lot? If I'm the Lakers, I would stay away from Josh Giddey personally. I'm not big on Josh Giddey, and on top of that, he's going to be due for a new contract. So I think if you're the Lakers, probably in your best interest to just kind of let another team go and acquire him. But you look at, again, Io, I'd be glad to take him. Two-way guard, they could be a point of attack, hit some threes, makes plays, do a little bit of everything out there on the basketball court. Obviously, he's not finished product, but he's young, so you have some upside, you have some room, you have some growth in him in a backup role. If you're trading, say, a Gabe Vincent, makes a lot of sense as a guy that can just kind of initiate the offense, be that point of attack, kind of be what you were hoping for from Gabe Vincent. Right? A guy like Io makes a lot of sense. So Chicago has several needs. Thing is a lot of those other guys like Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Patrick Williams stuff, those guys are probably going to be the ones that teams are trying to go after and actually give up assets. Where for the Lakers, yeah, it'd be nice to get a Patrick Williams, something like that, but I would focus on the 2 main guys, right? And then if you can, try to get one of the kind of, like a Dalen Terry or, an Io, something like that, right? If you can get that along with a Vu or a Zach Lavine, again, if it's between Zach Lavine and Vu, personally, I'd rather just go get Zach Lavine, right? Lakers really just need a backup center. If you get a guy like Vu, you're starting him, right? So you're going to have him alongside Anthony Davis, and now LeBron's playing the 3. Is LeBron going to be okay with that, for one? 2, does it make sense to put LeBron at the 3? Because LeBron, do you really want that wear and tear over the course of the season for him, right? well, if you have Vu and if he can maintain some level of production that he's giving for Chicago, I don't know if he's going to shoot the way he's shooting. Like, he's shooting lights out from three-point range for Chicago. Does that translate with the Lakers? If it does, that's great, right? Because now you have him along with Anthony Davis that can both knock down the three and stretch the floor a little bit. Anthony Davis's shot hasn't been that great the last few games, but he's also taking less threes. He's only taking like one a game, if that. So I do like the idea of that. Vu, he's not known as this great defensive stopper, but he's a guy that, if you drive the opposing offensive player into him, he can clean it up. It's just him on an island is where the problem is. But again, I'd prefer, like, we talked about it. If you get a Zach Lavine and like an Io, then go get like a Dorian Finney-Smith and a Day'Ron Sharpe or something like that. To me, I just think that that's better. You got, your backup guard, point of attack guard. You got, your star third guy, right? Got a 3-and-D wing. And then you got your backup center who's young, cheap, and has upside and potential, but can fill in the role that you need in a pinch alongside Anthony Davis, behind Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis gets the night off. Boom. I would prefer that than like going and getting a $20 million center and then, yeah, you could argue if you could get like Vu and then like a Dorian Finney-Smith and a like Dennis Schroeder, right? Okay, sure. But again, I like the ceiling raise that Zach Lavine provides, right? And I've talked about this a million times, so I'll just kind of summarize real quick. If you want kind of more in depth, go check out any of the other videos about Zach Lavine. I've talked about him a lot because I'm really big on Zach Lavine. But defensively, people always talk about, his defense. He is every season either at or below league average or better than league average. So he's good defensively. Not great, not elite, anything like that, but he's good athletically, point of attack, could do multiple things out there because he's got the foot speed, the quickness, the athleticism, right? Applies rim pressure. One of the best catch-shoot three-point shooters in the league. A guy that can just get you a bucket, make plays, rebounds well, right? Like, he does and fits all the things that the Lakers really need. Takes pressure off of LeBron, especially with LeBron kind of playing more of the magic role now, right? He's been more willing to kind of, delegate and get guys. Imagine Zach Lavine in the Austin Reeves role as opposed to Austin Reeves, right? And LeBron's going to go get his 20 regardless, right? You're not worried about LeBron getting his 20, but LeBron can kind of play more and just, hey, let Lavine and AD, you two handle the workload offensively. I'll chip in here and there, right? And then, we'll go win some games here. And then if you get like a Dorian Finney-Smith, now you got a legit 3-and-D wing, right? And then I like the point of attack guy, right? And then Reeves is like your sixth man, right? Like, if you could do something where you have, say, Dennis Schroeder, Zach Lavine, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. I just think that that's so much better than like anything you have now. Question is, like, would the Lakers be willing to trade the things necessary to do that? Essentially a roster rehaul. And then people worry about depth, right? Because like even I've talked about like with Nikola Vucevic and Zach Lavine, like if you were to get both, who's stopping that team, right? I mean, think about it. You could go Zach Lavine, Dalton Connect if you wanted to for like just that floor spacing and shooting. Although I'd probably go with some defense, like a Cam Reddish at that point, just so you have some, like a defensive guy, because between Zach Lavine, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Vucevic, you have enough offense in your starting unit. I like that balance, but you could go Dalton Connect. You go like Zach Lavine Connect, LeBron, AD, and Vu. Like, you're not stopping that team offensively. However, it's like defensively, are you going to be able to get the necessary stops on the defensive end? But if LeBron doesn't have to handle as much of a workload offensively, maybe he can buy in a little more on the defensive side, right? Zach Lavine, like I said, is a good defender. Connect's improving, but he still has his struggles. But if he's out at the 2, has to be responsible for the perimeter rather than like, the corner man where, we've seen him kind of out of position or getting backdoored on numerous occasions. Maybe kind of better balance that out. I don't hate the idea of that. And then, like, people always talk about depth. Like, what about the Lakers' depth? What depth? The Lakers have one of the worst benches in all of basketball. Like, depth is great when the depth matters and when it's helping the team. Depth is irrelevant when they're all no-shows. The depth is irrelevant when they're hurting the team, right? When you take out your main players and you put your bench in and they're basically just not, they might as well not even be out there on the basketball court. I mean, Gabe Vincent is out there getting cardio. Like, is it really like, oh man, we got to keep Gabe Vincent because we need depth? No, like, it's silly, right? Like, I would rather give me a top end 6, 7 guys than 12, 13 guys. I mean, look at the teams that have won the championship the last few years. Boston, right? Like, they're 6 deep, right? Denver was like 6 deep. Like, these teams aren't super deep. They're running 15 guys. And once you get to the playoffs, you're only running 7 or 8 guys anyway. So to me, it's just like, give me that front end roster and then trickle in whatever else, right? Like bring in Quincy Olivari, Armel Traore, Christian Coloco to kind of fill out the roster if you need, 3 roster spots or 4 roster spots, and then just go bring in like a Jordan Goodwin or something, right? At that point, you're just filling out the roster, right? So I don't think it's a big deal. But Chicago having a fire sale, seeing the Nets having a fire sale, I'm sure many other teams are probably going to have a fire sale. So definitely something to look out for. But Chicago having this fire sale, I think is huge for the Lakers, gives the Lakers some real opportunity, gives the Lakers some leverage. And, the Chicago seems to be very reasonable on their asking prices. Like, seems like they're aware they're not getting anything of value for Zach Lavine. So as long as they can just kind of get off of Zach Lavine without having to sell the farm to get off of Zach Lavine, and then Vu, they're like, hey, give us 2 seconds and it's good. That's good, right? Good shape, right? Good value for both guys. Those are the guys that I would focus on if I were the Lakers. Try to get one of those guys done ASAP if you can. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Think like, yes, go get Zach Lavine, go get Nikola Vucevic. Do you think, no, try to go get the other guy, like Patrick Williams and, Lonzo Ball? I've seen a lot of people, which I stay as far away from Lonzo as possible. I like Lonzo. Healthy Lonzo. What we saw in Chicago before he got hurt again, right? And he missed 2 seasons. Like that Lonzo, I would take all day, including Sunday. But he's not that guy, and he can't stay healthy. He can't stay on the basketball court. So I just think you gotta. That's the last thing you need. Lakers aren't in a position to gamble like that. So anyway, how you feel? Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. If you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.